Approved Home Pros, connecting you to today's trends, easy upgrades, and the tips, advice, and answers you need for your home, featuring trusted local experts and San Diego's best home pros, guaranteed. Now, Approved Home Pros.
Welcome to Approved Home Pros. I'm Jordan Frazier.
And I'm Sean Johnson. Today, Jordan, we've got a great show on tap. We're covering some of our real core areas with Approved Home Pros. One of them is safety, which we're going to start with. We've got a segment all about electrical issues when buying a home.
Which I bet you so many homeowners out there are not knowledgeable about.
Not at all. I wasn't before I learned some of these things, because electrical is hidden behind the walls. People don't know a lot about it. And when you're buying a home new to you, there's some things you should be aware of.
And of course, electrical is one of the more dangerous aspects of a home. So it's really important to be keyed in to stay tuned to find out those things that you need to know. What else we have for safety?
In our Ask an Expert section, flipped homes, people hear about it all the time. There's a lot of shows about flipping homes, but they don't hear about the downside sometimes, which are some of the hidden things that flippers maybe do on purpose, sometimes maybe not, but there's some things that put you at risk for safety, also financially.
Right, flipped homes are not necessarily a bad thing, but there's more information that you need to get. That's what we're going to have our takeaway.
Oftentimes big hidden issues in flipped homes.
Another thing we're going to cover today is local. Approved Home Pros is here on the ground in San Diego for you. That's where we screen and vet these local pros who are San Diego contractors, and we really stand behind them. Everyone you're going to see today, of course, has been screened and vetted by Approved Home Pros, but we're talking local today because we're learning all about Kate Sessions.
Kate Sessions and her connection to Mission Hills Nursery, but also her connection to the entire city of San Diego, Balboa Park, and the trees, flowers, and plants that make up our city.
Let's take a look at that first part of our feature to learn how Kate Sessions influenced San Diego's horticulture.
Mission Hills Nursery was founded in 1910 by the mother of Balboa Park, Kate Sessions. She was a woman in history that helped horticulture develop into what it is today. A woman back in 1910 developing a nursery, a business, and in an industry mostly driven by male figures is pretty impressive. There's even a statue of her at the entrance of Balboa Park, what's known as the Four Corners. As you cross the Prado Bridge, there's a statue of her standing there looking at Balboa Park, almost overseeing what she created hundreds of years later. Mission Hills Nursery was born of Kate Sessions' dream. She was a landscaper, a horticulturalist, a plant hunter, and to develop her own nursery where she can have these plants and then share them with the public is, I think, her ultimate goal and dream in life. If you had walked onto this property in 1910, you would have seen a small greenhouse kind of at the back corner of the property with a little bit of land in front, and it would have had plants all around it in different states, whether young plants or mature plants. When Kate Sessions was influencing San Diego's landscape, she was focused on trees. When you were here in 1910, San Diego doesn't have a lot of native trees. We have sycamores and we have some pines and we have some oaks, but all those were dedicated to our foothills or our creeks or our coastal areas. So when they thought about what they needed, they thought about trees. A lot of the trees in Balboa Park, the Morton Bay figs, the pines that they have there, the eucalyptus trees that they have there, those were all foundation plantings, because one of the things they found early on is they needed to create a canopy that other plants can live under, because San Diego was such a dry area that the plants that they planted, if they didn't have some protection, wouldn't survive. After the canopy was established, this was really exciting because this is where people can put the plants that they dreamed of into their landscape.
Welcome to the Ace Hardware Project of the Week, brought to you by Ramona Ace Hardware. I'm here with Lou Manfredini, Ace's home expert, and today he's helping us keep rodents out of our home, which I have had a rat problem before. I went to Ace, they helped me out. I'm hoping to never have to deal with it again.
I know, but here's the thing, we're kind of living in their world, and the thing that I want you to know, and most people don't want to hear, is there's no such thing as one mouse. So if you have one, you more than likely have more than one. They can fit through a hole the size of a dime.
Which is so tiny.
So tiny. So you need to really kind of inspect around your home. If you do sense you have a problem, you want to look to see if there's droppings that you notice where they're happening. Cleanliness certainly helps inside of a home to try and keep it as tidy as possible. The thing that I'll tell you is that rodents have a lot of disease people with asthma and allergies are really affected by an infestation of rodents, and so controlling them is important. Now, I'll always get a lot of pushback when I give people advice on this, because you do have a couple of options. You can use a combination of baits and traps, which eliminate the rodents by killing them. And for some people, they're like, yeah, that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
For those that don't, you have repellents, and then you have the opportunity to use traps where you can actually release them. Now, the thing to know is that with any kind of baiting, you want to do that on the outside of the home. You're trying to draw the rodents outside. Any kind of traps you use on the inside of the home. This particular one right here is actually a release trap. So you're going to bait inside of here. The rodent kind of goes inside the little hole here, gets inside of here, and now they're trapped.
They get stuck.
They get stuck. And so now you take this to the woods, someplace far away from your home. You know, I'm thinking like San Francisco. And then you open this up, and then there it goes, out they go, and you can actually reuse these if that's what you want to do. Now, that's a little more involved. You know, a lot of people don't want anything to do with it, right, when it happens. Some of these are what they call no-show traps, where they eliminate it and the entire mouse goes inside of there. And by using a combination of these, you can help to eliminate the rodent problem in your home.
And of course, seal up any of those holes in your home that you find.
Correct.
You can get help with any rodent problems you might be facing at your local Ace Hardware. Find the location nearest you at sdacehardware.com.
As a resident in San Diego, fire can strike at any time. Over 90% of the county is considered a fire zone. When building or remodeling in San Diego, there are minimum requirements to meet current fire codes, and I recommend talking to your designer or contractor about additional steps to protect your family and home in the event of a fire. There are great fireproof and fire-resistant products available. For example, if you have an existing home with wood shakes or wood siding, I recommend installing composite materials, which greatly reduces the risk of your home burning in a fire. Also, roof overhangs should be constructed of fire-resistant material or large wood timbers. Another step you can take to protect your home is creating and maintaining a defensible space with landscaping or hardscape. Brush management, especially in rural areas, should be a part of your annual maintenance. And lastly, you may want to consider fire sprinklers.
Be safe, be sure, be confident about the home improvement companies you work with the Approved Home Pros Guarantee. Only Approved Home Pros guarantees you will be satisfied with your home improvement, repair, or service, or we'll step in to help make it right. If you need help, our team of experts is behind you every step of the way when you use a pro in the Approved Home Pros Network. Move forward with confidence knowing you're never in this alone. Find a pro today at ApprovedHomePros.com. It's guaranteed.
I'm here with Phil Edwards from JMR Power Systems to talk about checking electrical work when buying a new home. Phil, great to have you on the show.
Great to be here, Sean.
First of all, we're talking about buying a home, maybe new to you, not necessarily a brand new home. But when people are buying a home new to them, what are some of the electrical issues or problems people should be on the lookout for?
Well, an electrical system is basically a life safety system. So we want to make sure that we're looking for the life safety items first. Carbon monoxide detectors, smoke detectors, circuit breakers, GFCI protectors, which means ground fault circuit interrupters, which are devices that are around water.
So the things that I never realize have tripped that have the little button and I think I need to replace my iron or my toaster?
Yeah, the one that's hidden in the garage and covers everything in the house.
Yeah, sometimes they are, sometimes they're in the kitchen, or the more modern ones have more of them in the house, correct?
Yes, they do.
Let's go back to one of the earlier ones you mentioned, which is the smoke detectors and carbon monoxide. What's the lifespan of one of those on average?
Well, a smoke detector is recommended to be replaced every 10 years and a carbon monoxide every 5.
So if you bought a house and you don't know how long that detector's been in the home, is it a good idea to start fresh and just install new ones?
Sure, it'd be a great idea.
You mentioned circuit breakers. That is kind of the ultimate safety factor for the home, is that correct?
Yes, that protects everything, and it's problematic because there's not really a great way to test a circuit breaker. So you got to look at the age of the circuit breaker. If you are younger than your circuit breaker, probably a good idea to get it replaced.
And I know there's some old ones that were installed years ago that have a history of failure, which can be very, 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 very dangerous. Are there some signs that people might see if their electrical has issues?
Well, Heat is probably the #1 issue that you'll come across. If things aren't working or not working properly, like if your circuit breaker is occasionally tripping when you're doing normal loads and you reset it and then it just keeps happening, usually what will happen is it'll eventually fail.
Okay. Thank you for these tips. Those are great ones. I know you're offering a $77 service special. All the details are on ApprovedHomePros.com. Thanks so much, Phil. Now, the second part of tonight's feature story. Kate Sessions had a lot of influence in San Diego's landscape, but what does that mean for you today? Tiger fills us in.
In San Diego, we've seen a big shift in our landscape. It's because back in the day, we dreamed of having this tropical oasis. Well, that's not always a reasonable request for San Diegans. We go through years of drought, we go through years of freeze and cold weather, that sometimes those tropical plants don't fare well here. Our climate aligns with a wonderful array of other climate areas. And because of that, we have this wonderful variety or array of flora and fauna here. Some of those plants are seen all throughout San Diego County now. The one that I can think of the most at this moment in time is the jacaranda tree. That's not native to here. That came from Australia and parts of Asia, and it was brought over here, but it also does really well here. The magnolia tree. It's another tree that was brought over here and does fabulous here, and is an evergreen tree that produces flowers, which is a very rare item here in San Diego County. Last I'll say is the bougainvillea. It's the flowering vine or bush that everybody sees and wants to have in their yard. If you're in central San Diego and you have a large tree on your property, trees usually reach maturity of about 50 years. So at least 50 years ago, that tree was planted. And if you think about what was happening 50 years ago, or you think about when your house was built, in what era or what age it was built, that's the people that influenced the landscape at that point in time. East Coast people had an influence. People moved here from the East Coast. So therefore, what people had on the East Coast, they wanted here when they moved to San Diego. Even though it wasn't the right area for it, they still wanted that. My family took over the nursery 26 years ago, and we purchased the nursery from the Antonicelli family, and they worked for Kate Sessions. So it was a natural transition for them, and then my dad being in the industry, it was a natural transition for him to take over a nursery and be able to run it himself. So one of the ways I describe Mission Hills Nursery when people have never been here is it's situated in the middle of the community. If you look on all sides of us, we're surrounded by homes. There's really no businesses next to us. They're all blocks away. There's a school located just across the street. So it's nice to have this feeling of being in this urban oasis where you're situated in the middle of the city. If you didn't drive here, you didn't know this even existed. I tell people whenever they're thinking about what's native to San Diego, just go to the Miramar landfill or Miramar Naval Base. Go to our mountains. Look at that landscape that's left untouched. That's the San Diego landscape that's true to San Diego. The palm trees, the birds of paradise, those are all influences that people have brought over here through the ages. That's San Diego in general. I have some great tips for your yard.
If there was something that could help keep your lawn lush and green, I think you'd want to know about it. So Dominic Carlos from Four Seasons Lawn Aeration is here to introduce us to lawn aerating. Let's just start at the very beginning. I don't think very many people out there maybe know. What is lawn aerating?
Well, out here in Southern California, we have that hard adobe-based clay type soil. Over the years, it gets compacted, and when it gets compacted, it turns a brick, and you just can't grow grass in brick. The only way for a turf to do well is that it needs to be decompacted, and the way we do that with our aerating machines, same machine I use on a golf course putting greens.
Which are notoriously green.
Yeah, that's what I bring out to the homes. It's not a rental type machine, it's a professional golf course machine. Punches the turf about as deep as your index finger, every 2 inches apart. But not just punching it, we also pull up a soil core. That's the most important part because that's what relieves tension and compaction. Opens up that lawn, allows air to get in there to feed the microorganisms in the soil. Afterwards, we also fertilize it. That's part of our service. Fertilizer gets washed into the soil directly, just like force feeds it. Within 2 weeks, what's green and growing looks 100% better. We really get that lawn to pop green. Any areas we can't reach because of our machine, We do detailed job. This is a tool I invented myself. I call it the Truly Holy. And we get the areas that corners, in between stepstones, and this is why I beat all my competition. Nobody can come close because of the detail work that we do.
So it's going to help the lawn stay nice and green, but also maybe save you a little bit of water because you're going to maximize your water use.
Absolutely. What it does, it makes the lawn 100% more porous. These little holes bring in all the water and moisture and holds it much better. If you have any problems with a sloping hill, and it really helps with water runoff.
And how often should we aerate?
At least twice a year for residential areas. And once we service your lawn, you're in our system, and we give you a call every 6 months when we're in your neighborhood. We service the entire county of San Diego.
Thanks so much. Lawn aeration is a simple and affordable solution to help you maintain a beautiful lawn. Get started with Four Seasons Lawn Aeration today at 619-485-0035.
Hi, I'm Sue Fries, the termite lady from Ecola Termite and Pest Management Services. And the quick tip of the day is that if you don't want to have rodents invited into your home or in your patio, if you don't want them to be around you, what you need to do is understand that they need food, they need water, and they need shelter. So you want to make sure that your dog food is stored in an airtight container, and make sure that if you can keep water away, that you do. If you have a pool, that's a little difficult. But on the whole, just think about food, water, and shelter, and if you can take those things away, they will find someplace else to live.
Only Approved Home Pros gives you the expert advantage you need when navigating the world of home improvement. Our network is a team of the most trusted and highly respected local home improvement experts. Expert reviews, advice, and answers have given thousands of homeowners like you the confidence that comes from having a team of professionals behind you. Like a friend in the business, we're here to protect your home and family by making it easy to find and connect with San Diego's best pros at ApprovedHomePros.com.
We love working with companies that truly want to educate homeowners, and Reborn Cabinets is a perfect example. I'm here with David Dolan from Reborn Cabinets. Thank you for joining me today.
Thanks, Sean, for having us.
So at Reborn, you have certain core principles. They're your founding principles. There's 10, I believe,
Yes.
correct? We want to center in on 2 today. What's the first one we want to talk about?
Well, the Vinny principle, and that's treat every home as if it were your own.
That's pretty straightforward and,
Yes.
and a guiding principle you have. The second is we care. What does that mean?
We want our customers to understand that from the beginning all the way to the end of the project, they're going to feel like they're being taken care of. So we're going to listen to them when it comes to doing our needs assessment. When we go into the home, we're going to listen to all the things that they would like to have done so we can eliminate the unnecessary things and we can move forward with doing something that they want to do, not necessarily what we want to do.
I think that needs assessment is key, because a lot of people have an experience with a remodeling company or a lot of different trades where they feel like they're being sold. The person that comes into their home is talking more than listening, and it's about what they want to push on you rather than your needs. Do you see that happen in the industry a lot, and you're different?
And we do, and we hear that from our customers when they've already had somebody out. So we don't want our customers to feel trapped in a corner. We want them to see all the possibilities, and that's why we try to show them as many varieties as possible and what they can do with their project.
An additional thing you do is education. You do seminars and events, and you try and make people as educated about the options, the materials, the processes as possible. Why is that?
Well, knowledge is power, and the more knowledge you have about something, the more empowered you're going to feel and good you're going to feel about the decisions you make in moving forward with the project. So we really try to emphasize educating with our customers so that they feel good about what they're going to do.
And again, that's the opposite of what you get with a wrong contractor, because they're not trying to educate you. They're trying to hide things, get you quickly to make a decision that might not be in your best interest, which is the opposite of what you're doing. Yeah. Love the way you approach it at Reborn Cabinets. Another very special thing that you're offering at Reborn Cabinets is a $500 gift certificate, absolutely free. And there's a free cash contest that goes along with it. You can win free cash. Just log on to ApprovedHomePros.com/Reborn or head into the showroom. Now, shade is very important. There's a lot of shade options available for you for your yard. And so Jordan is going to go out with System Pavers to learn about the shade options you have for your backyard. There's more than you may think.
Hi, I'm Jordan Frazier, and it is peak summer in San Diego, which means it's hot outside. So if you are using your outdoor living space, you probably want to think about some shade. It's exactly why I'm here at System Pavers Design Center with Chris Brown, who's our expert on the subject, who's going to help us talk about pergolas and what they can do to enhance your lifestyle and add shade to your outdoor space. So thanks for having us today.
Oh, thanks for coming.
Why don't we start with what is a pergola, because I am a little bit guilty and only recently learned what it was. So I want to make sure there's anybody out there who's just like me, they get filled into.
Right, right. Well, a pergola is a shade structure, so it could be attached to the home, or it could be detached and sitting in the landscape somewhere. It can be fully enclosed, or it can be open to the air and with some lattice work.
And it can be styled colors to match kind of whatever your space allows for?
Oh, sure, and we also like to incorporate the architecture of the home too, just to make sure that pergola fits in with the whole look of the property.
I love it. So whether we're talking about that fully enclosed roof or the lattice roof, how do we decide, which styles and choices to go with?
Well, sometimes you want a little bit more shade, which in that situation a closed roof is really important. Sometimes you just want you want it to be light and breezy, but you still want it to add a little bit of shade. So maybe a lattice one would work better. But overall, it just should really tie into the home and just be an extension of the property.
And how about what we're going to use it to cover? So what goes underneath the pergola?
Yeah, well, that's one of the most important elements. So you don't want to size it too small and create some weird transitions. So we like to find out, are you using it as an outdoor living room, as a dining area, an entertainment space with barbecue and bar, or
all of the above.
a combination of everything. And so that way we can size it appropriately so it feels good and flowy, and there's a lot of good circulation.
So size it appropriate, but also place it appropriately, because you want to
to
make sure it's in the right space in the yard as well, based on where the sun.
That's correct, because you really have to see, one, where you're going to get the best value out of that shade, where you're going to use it the most,
Yeah.
but also two, yeah, where is the sun coming from, and are you even going to get any shade when that pergola is built?
And this, of course, is something that System Pavers can help everyone with during the design consultation, which is free, by the way, because that's something that a lot of your competitors maybe leave out.
Right, well, it's one of the most important things.
So make sure you get a quality free design consultation from System Pavers. It will be 619-312-6760. They can help you choose the right placement and style for your pergola. Visit approvedhomepros.com/systempavers to see their current offers.
It's time to Ask an Expert, where we tackle everyday home improvement topics to help you better understand your home. Today I'm with Greg Cantor, our resident expert, and Dan Shearer, Program Manager for the City of San Diego Development Services, basically the Department of Building Services. Greg, we're talking about flipped houses. First, define that for us. What's a flipped house?
Basically, someone buys it, or an individual or group, and they fix it up and put it back on the market to sell.
So quickly buy it, make it look pretty, get it back out there for a profit.
Absolutely.
Dan, what are the things you've seen with flipped houses that are problematic, or some of the issues you've seen over the years?
I've seen structural issues where they remove interior bearing walls. I've also seen electrical issues, no smoke detectors, no carbon monoxide detectors.
So dangerous things like that?
Safety, yes.
What about converting rooms into bedrooms that weren't intended for bedrooms?
Yeah, I've seen that as well, where they don't have the proper egress window.
Now, Greg, permits are a core thing that flippers don't often do. Is that something you've seen in your experience? No permits for the work?
Frequently, probably more times than not, but there are good flippers that pull permits, but there's a lot of them that don't. And they're just looking for a quick way to get that house back on the market. Chances are they're not following the building code, and it can put someone in harm's way.
So Dan, if somebody buys a flipped home and the permits weren't pulled, down the line they're going to do something. If they need a permit or something that comes up, who's on the hook? Is it the flipper or the new buyer?
The new buyer usually, and they could be in for some real problems.
So
yes.
Define that for me. So on the hook for money, redoing jobs?
New permits, also exposing work, tearing walls, opening walls up so we can see what was done, see if it's done correctly or not.
See, that tearing open walls, that's one thing I want to bring up, because flippers want things to look pretty, so they want you to walk in the house when you're on that tour and say, wow, but they don't really care necessarily about the quality of the materials.
They don't care about the quality, and a lot of times they hide things too with paint.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, they kind of put lipstick on a pig to make a home that's not that great quality look beautiful, to be able to trick the buyer into going ahead and buying the home.
Correct.
Thank you, guys. I think the essential message is caveat emptor, buyer beware. If you have questions for our experts or want to see more information on previous questions, visit approvedhomepros.com in our Ask an Expert section. Now we've learned all about the history of San Diego's landscape. Let's find out about what it means for your yard.
You can create an oasis in your own backyard by having a large protecting tree, and then underneath it you can incorporate a wonderful variety of plants like hydrangeas, azaleas, rhododendrons, and all kinds of plants that aren't necessarily native to here, but will do well here in the right environment. A common trend right now in the landscape is edible landscapes. And this is the use of trees or shrubs that actually produce something, whether it be a fruit or a vegetable or a berry, but it's an established part of the landscape. This is something that's going to be there year after year and produce for you year after year, such as blueberry bushes. They're a wonderful bush that you can incorporate into your landscape palette, but they actually produce blueberries afterwards. Also, citrus trees. They're wonderful patio trees or small shrubs that you can incorporate in the landscape that take up space, but then produce limes or lemons or oranges after that. Another plant that people overlook is the artichoke. This is a wonderful architectural plant that grows up with rigid spines and looks very unique, but it produces the artichoke. At Mission Hills Nursery, there's two major ways we can help you. The first is come into the nursery, let us walk you through and show you some of the plants that you'll love to have in your yard. When you're planting a landscape, you need to think about a couple important things. Number one, what do you want out of your yard? Is it going to be just something pretty to look at? Is it going to be functional? Or are you going to want to produce something like a fruit or vegetable? Also, be realistic in where you're located. Are you in East County, San Diego? Are you coastal? Are you in the mountains? Are you in a valley? Because that'll help determine what plants you can grow and be successful. Another major benefit of working with Mission Hills Nursery is that you're working with plant experts. Having a business that's over 100 years old gives us the experience and knowledge to make sure that the landscape is what you want it to be.
Don't trust your home improvement decisions to unverified consumer reviews on other sites. Approved Home Pros offers you free and easy access to expert reviews of San Diego's best home improvement professionals. Our in-depth screening, research, and reviews are conducted by experienced and trusted experts who are members of the local community with knowledge of local codes and common issues. Find San Diego pros and expert tips, advice, and answers on ApprovedHomePros.com.
Sean, I learned so much today.
Oh, as did I. There's so much great information. And some of the things we learned about safety, I want people to know there are links on Approved Home Pros where you can go to find the list from our electrical segment, all about the hidden things in a new home.
Yeah, things you need to look for.
Also, in a flipped home, some things you need to look for regarding permits.
Oh, and learn how to pull those permits. We have both of those posted for you right at ApprovedHomePros.com. You find them in our show extras section, of course. Approved Home Pros is always here for you to be a resource in San Diego for whatever it is that you need for your home.
Absolutely. If you need anything for your home, whatever it is, a pro, anything at all, go there, log in to ApprovedHomePros.com. There's a search function. You can find any pro in any category you need. They've all been screened, vetted, and approved.
And guaranteed.
Guaranteed to be satisfied with them, or we'll step in and help make it right.
Tell me a little bit more about how that guarantee works before we sign off.
Well, really, if you hire one of our pros and you tell them you're an Approved Home Pro customer, we guarantee you're going to have a good experience, or we're going to step in to make sure that it goes better, that we help make it right.
Right, we are on the ground here in San Diego. We wanted to help share a little bit about San Diego's horticulture and history with you today. So it's more than just home improvements. We're really here to help guide you through whatever it is you need for your home. Visit us at ApprovedHomePros.com to learn more.
Thank you for joining the Approved Home Pro Show.